Sidney Smith, welcome to Rock and Roll Gallery's Shot Talk.
Well, thank you. And I am Sidney Smith. And I started shooting pictures when I was 16 years old, maybe even 15. But I started shooting pictures when I was 16. Didn't want to shoot pictures of flowers and weddings. I wanted to shoot pictures of people, and not just any people. I wanted to shoot rock stars. And I was lucky enough to just fall upon the Allman Brothers right off the bat. And they took me in like I was a family. And I started with the Allman Brothers and grew from there. And between the time I was 16 and the time I was 21, 22, that was my career. That was my those were the years for me.
So pretty much we're talking about 1970 to 1976. You hoovered up all that gold on the camera.
That is correct, yeah. I had several friends in high school at the time. Can I carry your equipment? Can I be your assistant? I said, no, I think I got this covered.
So, well, it seems like the Allmans really took you under their wing, like you said, but like in a very exceptional way.
I was harmless. I was a kid. I wasn't in their face. I was a fly on the wall. And I wasn't threatening. And that's the way it was with all the bands. I wasn't threatening. I was a kid and with a camera. But I knew in my head that these pictures were going to be worth something years down the line.
Well, they sure are. There's a lot of demand for them, and we're lucky. But I mean, I'm looking at the body of work between the Allman Brothers and the bookend with McCartney. That's a pretty sizable amount of material you have. And we have it all on Rock and Roll Gallery on display, but it's definitely, you know, your access. Yeah. And the way you just handled the camera. I mean,
a lot of it is luck, but you know, obviously there's talent there, and you have to have an eye. Obviously, any good photographer has to have an eye and know what they want to shoot, and of course, it takes patience. You know, if you're shooting stuff on stage, obviously, you've got to wait for that right moment, and you've got to be willing to wait sometimes with that camera held up, for the longest time until you get that right. And of course, that was back in the days of negatives, light years before digital. So these days you can just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. But back in those days, I was waiting for that moment.
Interesting. So you basically, did you shoot, like I had a lot of photographers that said they shot economically because they had to pay for their film.
Oh, absolutely. Film isn't cheap. I had my own darkroom and, the chemicals, the paper, the film, it's all part of the deal. And when you're 16 years old and you don't have a lot of money, and I didn't come from money, so I had to work for everything I got.
Well, it obviously paid off. I mean, look at this many years later, your legacy is just grown and grown and grown, and very few people have that kind of imagery, and especially in that neck of the woods. I mean, you owned New Orleans for all those years. I was considered,
after a period of time, I was considered to be the rock and roll photographer in New Orleans, yeah.
And that was obviously well earned.
That's how it got me the McCartney gig. I shot just about everybody, from the Allman Brothers on up, anybody who was anybody back in the day. And I got the call to shoot McCartney because of my reputation.
That was the Venus and Mars sessions, right?
That was the Venus and Mars session, right?
That's a nice little payoff for a super Beatle freak.
Well, it wasn't a payoff financially for me, but it was a great payoff emotionally. And I got to work with my idol,
That's fantastic.